Kia ora koutou, and welcome to the latest episode of the Business Spotlight podcast. I'm Darren Gray from Darren Gray Consulting, and in conjunction with the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce, we're proud to bring you this podcast series aimed at shining a spotlight on the incredible businesses within our Hutt Valley community. In each episode, we'll chat to one local Hutt Valley business, uncovering their unique stories, innovative practices, and the invaluable contributions they make to our region. Now, we try and do their podcast unedited so we can get to meet the real people behind the business and have real conversations, albeit in a really, really tight, short time frame. So if you hear or see the odd mistake, just go with it and enjoy. So today, I'm really thrilled to introduce you to Karen Smart from New Zealand Home Loans. Karen, welcome. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today.
Hi, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Hey, so let's get started. Let's dive straight into this. Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what is it that you do?
What is it that I do? I'm a registered financial advisor. I specialise in residential lending, so home lending for your home, and I specialise in personal insurances. So you've got the home, you've got some debt, let's put some insurance around that to protect you.
Ah, right. So not just the home loans.
No. So the home, the insurance to protect you and your income, and the insurance such as house, contents and car. So the three things to wrap you up in a bubble and look after you so you can achieve your dreams.
Oh, that sounds so cool. So who do you think is your ideal customer? Like who are the types of people that would choose to come to you to sort out the funding, I guess, what's the right word, the mortgage, whatever word we want to use for their house. And, yeah. And what problems do you help them solve?
Okay, so you've asked me three things. So my first thing, steady on. So my ideal customer is someone who actually cares, someone that actually knows about their money or thinks that they want to do better. It's like you see the ads on TV and everyone says, use this company, use for power, right? So we might use this company for power or that company for power, or we might look at Power Switch, or we might compare and we might move every 6 months or every year we might move power companies to save $50 or $1. So people care about their monthly bills. Your home loan or your mortgage is a monthly bill or a weekly bill or a fortnightly bill. So you should care about that just as much because it's your biggest portion of debt. So your monthly power bill might be $200 a month, but your monthly mortgage might be $200 a month or $200 a week or $1,000 a month. If you've lent $900,000, you're paying $1,000 a month. So you should, at some point in your life, think, hang on a minute, do I want a 30-year mortgage? Or do I want to pay it off in less than 30 years? And if I can pay it off in less than 30 years, I can have options because that money that I've not paying on the bill, that's the mortgage, I can spend and do other things with. So that's what I do. And that's part of the problems that we solve. We allow people with their income and expenses, we set up a graph and we give them choices to make about their income and expenses and choices around their loan so they can achieve financial freedom. So we're all about paying off that loan in less than 30 years or less than what my parents did or what maybe some people are still doing. The 30-year mortgage is a very, let's say, old-fashioned way of doing things.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And it sounds like you're doing something that's actually supporting them to be in charge of their decision-making and the outcomes that they want to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So we call ourselves mortgage mentors or financial coaches. We are all qualified. We go through a big, rigorous qualification period. And so we sit alongside our clients to talk about what's important with their income, what's important with their expenses. What might be, you've got people, like you've got the Kiwi bloke married to the Irish girl, and she wants to go home every 5 years to see mum and dad. Well, we can put that in their plan, and they can go home every 5 years to see mum and dad. And we know by adding on, let's say, $5,000 every 3 years in their expenses, that they'll still pay off their loan in an appropriate amount of time. So it's really sitting alongside them.
Yeah. I really like what you're saying. So is there? If I summarize back to you, what I'm hearing is that it's definitely not just about the one thing. There was mortgage, there was insurances that you talked about. There's a plan that you talked about, that kind of wraparound plan. So I'm getting the real sense of a wraparound service, which is really awesome. Is there anything else that somebody could expect when they come and work with you?
It's a very personalised service. So the first meeting is an hour to an hour and a half, and people think, oh my goodness, what are we going to talk about for an hour and a half? But I really want to get to know you. I really want to know what's important. Like, do you want to go? The example I used before. Do you want to go overseas every 5 years? Do you want to stop and study? Do you want to change jobs? Do you want to set up a business? Do you want to update your bathroom? I want to know all that stuff, and I want to build all that stuff in your plan. And I want to know if you want to, I want to know what your plans are going forward. So we talk about the 1 year plan and the 5 year plan.
Sure. Okay, that's cool. Okay, cool. Just checking we didn't have a little technical glitch along the way there, but let's carry on. So, okay, that sounds amazing, and I'm sure people value that. I guess the guidance, the coaching. Karen, I'm really curious about, what do you find the most rewarding part of what you do? Like, what really buzzes you out about it?
I genuinely believe that what I do helps people. So I've been doing. I was at home with my kids who were at primary school. One was going into year 7, one was going into year 4, and I thought, I should go get myself a job. I've been home for a few years. I had a friend who worked at NZHL and said, you would like what they do, come and check it out. I went to apply for the job, and it had been taken by somebody else that had filled the position. Thankfully for me, that person only stayed a week, and then they re-advertised the job, and I got a job. So I did start as the office manager for NZHL way back in 2007. So I was the office manager for 3 years, and then I retrained as the client servicing consultant. So I got to talk to the clients. And that really filled my bucket of talking to people, helping them fulfill their dreams, helping them fulfill their financial dreams, and just understanding interest rates and money and what it does and what it can do, and how your own money on your own account can reduce your interest. And if you're reducing interest, you're reducing time, and then you're reducing your mortgage. So we have a graph thing that works beautifully. And so I just love it because it genuinely helps people. And
I'm really seeing that passion come out.
Yeah, like I wouldn't still be here 18 years on if I didn't think it, if I didn't really, 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 really believe in the product. So as I just said, I was client servicing, office manager, client servicing, and then in 2012 I got the opportunity to buy a business, and so I just was never my plan to be self-employed and buy a business, but this is a great business. It's a great model. I love it, so I bought the business.
Nice. What's a personal value or a principle that drives you in what you do?
Honesty and integrity.
Yeah.
So not everybody if I sit in front of 10 people, I probably will end up with 8 to 9 clients out of the 10 people I've sat in front of. So it's not quite for everybody, but if you're looking at what we do and looking at what that bank over there does, just tell me what you're doing. Just be honest. And when we can talk, so the more people, I'm a very honest person. I stand by my integrity. I also stand by the service that we give and the products and services that we provide. And so I guess I expect the same from my clients.
Nice. Love it. When we talked, we had an interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago when we were just doing a little bit of planning around this. I'm curious in terms of what's a common misconception, because I had a couple when we were chatting, but what's a common misconception that people might have about what you do?
I think, that's a good question. I forgot what I said last time. I think the misconception is that it's too good to be true, because we don't advertise. So we're not so NZHL is a collection of financial advisors. We get our funding from 2 different banks. Okay, so you don't see us advertising or sponsoring a sports team or a helicopter or anything like that. So we're quite a flat organisation. So our core value is it's a recommendation-based model. So I talk to you, you come on board, you give me your brother or your sister or the neighbour, and that's how it works. And then in 10, 15 years you go out, or 5, 10, 15 years you go out but I've replaced you with other clients. So we're as interested in people paying off. We have an award every year. It's called the Freedom Award. I won it in 2024. So for across New Zealand, looking at branch size, I had the most clients that became debt-free in that 12-month period.
Wow.
And we celebrate you being debt-free and paying off that loan, hence our Freedom Award. So we're all about,
amazing.
We're more about the client. I'm not about hanging on to you for 30 years.
Yeah.
If I do that, if that happens, I've failed. I'm about doing what we say we're going to do from day one, making it come true in 10 years.
That's amazing. It really is amazing. If one of the things we talked about a couple of weeks ago was this question here was if you could go back in time, because hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice about what you do, what would it be?
Well, I never planned to do this. It happily fell into my lap, and happily I love it. But I think I would just back myself earlier and back myself sooner and just have more confidence. Yeah. That's all.
It can take a lot of energy to run a small business, or run a small team. What do you do? I'm interested in this, particularly with the climate that we're in at the moment. What do you do to keep your energy levels up?
Okay. I exercise, so I'm not a marathon runner or anything, but I go to the pool 3 times a week and I walk up and down. So I do aqua walking. I wouldn't really call it aqua jogging. I jog occasionally, but it's more walking than jogging. And that's really good for my mental health, keeps my head clear. I solve problems while I'm doing that, surprisingly. I might just be chatting to the other person walking up and down, or I might talk to nobody while I'm walking up and down, but it just clears my head for the day. I do it in the morning before I come to work. So, and I come to work between 8 and 9, but it just clears my head really nicely. And it's just good for me to put myself first for the first hour of the day a few times a week. I also have a business coach. We have lots of coaches, but my favorite coach, who is no longer my coach due to a health reason, but he always said 3 things, and I would stick to it for business or personal, and it's love it, change it, or leave it. The scenario, whatever it is, you can insert your own line here, anyone. So if you love it, that's all cool. You love it, but it's not quite you love it, but it's okay. Can you change it? So we might, or if we don't love it and we can't change it, do we leave it? Now that could be a job, that could be a relationship, that could be a friendship, but I do love what I do. I've changed a few things to make it easier for me, but mostly I love it. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. So I'm just going to repeat that again because I think that's an absolute piece of gold. So what was it? Love it, change it,
leave it.
Leave it.
Love it, change it, leave it.
Love it. I love it. It's really cool.
Simple. And I got that advice.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, many years ago, and almost 20 years ago now.
That's absolute gold. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's and maybe this actually covers that off. It might fit with this, but I know this is one thing that the Chamber's really interested in itself, is hearing about these kind of things. So that we there's some interesting times out there. We had 2024, we're in 2025, whole heap of different things going on for different people and different businesses at the moment. Have you got any strategy or suggestions for those business owners that might be facing some challenging times at the moment?
Talk to somebody. Don't hide under your rock and think it's just me, because it's not just you. It's everybody. Everyone's having potentially cash flow issues, or where's my next customer coming, or what do I do? The Chamber's great. My office is actually in the Chamber building, so. But apart from that, the Chamber is great. So the membership is, I'm going to say cheap. For one person, it's really cheap. Okay, it's
very reasonable, isn't it?
Very reasonable. Okay, it's worth the investment. You can go along to the events, the networking events. Now, I'm not a great networker, but I can still do it. I kind of think to myself, I don't need to be a busy bee and work the whole room, because that's a bit exhausting. My husband can do that really well, but I'm just not that person. But if I go in and I talk to 2 or 3 people, well, I've set my goal. I can talk to Darren because I know him. I'll go talk to that person because I don't know him, but I'll I'll introduce myself. And everyone's in the same boat. Everyone is like, oh, but once you just have a conversation and just find out what someone does, it's just nice. And it's hard being self-employed. It's hard loving every little bit of your business, because my favorite bit, obviously, as you might be able to tell, is talking to the client.
Yeah.
But earns me some money. But I've got to look after the money by doing my zero reconciliations and my this and my that and my next thing. And I've got contractors, and so there is other little bits that I need to do. But it's hard being self-employed, but getting out there and talking to people is great.
That's neat. And certainly that's my experience with being at the chamber as well. And I joined just over a year ago, and same experience. It's great. And I think that's a really interesting point you make about the networking event, is because sometimes you do feel like you go to those events and you want to try and connect with everybody, but actually just connecting with the one or two, reconnecting, making new connections. That's really cool. I really like that. Nice. Well, believe it or not, that actually brings us to the end of the podcast, because my next question was, how does being in the chamber help your business? But you did that one, so it's great. It was a nice intro into it. Well done. How do people contact you, Karen, if they want to get hold of you? How do they do it?
Okay, so they can Google me. They can just Google my name. They can look at the website, www.nzhl.co.nz, which is a nationwide website, and then they'll find an office, and they'll find the Lower Hutt one. Right. Either the office name is Harbour City, or they can just pop in my name and I'll come up. My photo is reasonably how I look now, it's not that different. I haven't, changed that much. They can go through the 0800 number. Just Google nzhl.co.nz.
Nice.
And on the website, there are some calculators if they want to just think, hang on, could I actually do this? So there is some really cool little calculators on our website if they want to just check out income, expenses before they give us a call.
Nice. Okay, that's really cool. Karen, I've loved this conversation. I really enjoyed when we were doing the planning for this, the conversation we had, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and learning a little bit more about what you do to support people in our area. Just thank you for your time. So it brings us to the end of this month's Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. We've been talking today to Karen Smart from New Zealand Home Loans about how she helps support clients. I did have Karen here, just sort of home loan, but I've learned a whole heap more. It's making a plan for that dream property, isn't it? It's a wraparound service, which I think is just amazing. As Karen said, there's a range of places that you can find her. It was www.nzhl.co.nz. I got that right? Okay, yeah. Sweet. Karen, thank you for giving us some insight into what you do. You've been listening to the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spot podcast. Thanks for joining us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Chamber's streaming channel for more fascinating insights. And when you see this one, press that little like thing. I'm your host, Darren Gray from Darren Gray Consulting, where I work with you to crack into new learning and unlock potential. Karen, thank you again so much. Great conversation.
Thanks, Darren. Bye, guys.